It was a tranquil afternoon, the kind where the sunlight filtered through the leaves of the oak tree outside Ollie's cozy little home and danced across the hardwood floors in a cascade of warm, golden tones. Books lined the shelves, their spines a mosaic of colors, each one a portal to realms unexplored. The faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the scent of parchment and ink from the small desk in the corner where Ollie often scribbled his thoughts and ideas for future adventures. Ollie enjoyed the simple pleasures of life.
Boy, there's nothing like a good book, a warm drink, and the satisfaction of a nice clean home.
He had made a haven for himself, a sanctuary where the drudgeries of everyday life faded away. But as he sank deeper into the plush embrace of his armchair, a blaring alarm echoed through the house, its shrill cry weaving through the walls like a thundercloud. Ollie's heart raced, overriding the calm that had enveloped him just moments ago. It was a signal alarm for emergencies, a summons to action.
It's the Orca alarm, and that means trouble.
Ollie sprang up from his chair, adrenaline fueling his movements as he bolted toward the hidden door at the back of his study. With deft fingers, he pressed a concealed panel on the wall that slid open to reveal a hidden dressing booth, his transformation chamber. The booth sparkled with technology and secrecy, illuminated by blinking lights and buzzing circuits. In the center, a pedestal awaited him, a promise of power and purpose. With urgency spurring him on, Ollie stepped inside and felt the door slide shut behind him. The world outside faded to a dull roar as the machinery came to life.
Orca Man, ready for action.
He shouted. The booth whirred and hummed, the air thickening with electric anticipation. From hidden compartments, a sleek, black and white bodysuit unfurled, draping over him like a second skin. The rubber bodysuit glistened under the fluorescent lights, mimicking the majestic patterns of an orca, complete with dorsal fins protruding from his back and the helmet that formed snugly around his head. As the suit secured itself around him and the helmet clicked into place, Ollie felt the familiar rush of confidence wash over him. He was no longer just a regular man named Ollie. He was Orca Man, superhero and guardian of the city, and protector of the innocent. His heart thundered not with fear, but with anticipation for the challenges ahead. With a final beep, the booth opened, revealing a trapdoor beneath his feet that slid open like the jaws of a great beast. Before he could second-guess himself, he slid down a slick tunnel, the walls whirring past him in a blur. The exhilarating rush of motion ignited his spirit, and he embraced the sensation of wind whipping against him, even as he descended through the secret passage. The landing was smooth, a soft thud on the surface of his motorcycle, an incredible machine that shaped itself like a happy, chubby orca. The glossy surface shone under the garage lights, the tire tracks resembling the creature's signature wave patterns as they hugged the ground. With a practiced twist, he ignited the engine, the growl of the motorcycle punctuating the silence of the garage with a roar of strength. As the garage door automatically swung open, revealing the world outside, a dazzling metropolis sprawled before him, its skyscrapers towering like ancient sentinels, the streets a labyrinth of life pulsing with energy. Orca Man let the thrill of the moment wash over him, revving the engine in a powerful growl before he surged forth into the sunlit streets. Traffic whizzed by, pedestrians scattered like startled fish, all stepping aside for the awe-inspiring sight of Orca Man on his motorcycle. People looked up, whispers of wonder swirling through the air as he darted gracefully through the asphalt jungle, a streak of black and white against the gray backdrop of the city. His mission was clear, and the energy of the city pulsed in rhythm with his own heartbeat. He rode past familiar landmarks such as the park, where he'd once saved a child from a treacherous fall, the bustling marketplace, where he had thwarted a band of thieves. Each corner held the echoes of his past exploits, fueling him as he raced toward the source of the alarm. The city was alive with commotion as he approached the sound of sirens. Smoke billowed in the distance, dark tendrils reaching for the sky like fingers grasping for attention. A crowd had gathered, a sea of worried faces shrouded in anxiety. Orca Man parked his motorcycle with a flourish, its engine purring softly like a contented whale as he dismounted.
What's happening here?
He called out with his voice steady and commanding, cutting through the murmur of the crowd. A woman rushed to him, her eyes wide and fear-laden.
It's a collapsing building downtown. They think there are people trapped inside.
She exclaimed with her voice trembling. The urgency in her tone ignited an inferno within him. Without a moment's hesitation, Orca Man sprinted toward the chaos, adrenaline surging through his veins. As he approached the site was grave, a once proud structure now battered and crumbling, debris littering the ground like fallen leaves. The crackling sound of shattering glass punctuated the scene, sending shards of fear through all who stood watching.
Stay back, everyone.
Orca Man ordered, raising a hand to keep the crowd at bay. His heart thundered in his chest as he surveyed the scene, assessing the most dangerous areas, where walls sagged and debris threatened to collapse further.
Keep going.
He announced, squaring his shoulders with determination. The crowd gasped, the weight of dread hanging in the air. But his gaze never faltered. He scanned for the nearest entrance, steeling himself for the challenge ahead. Orca Man! Someone shouted from the back of the crowd. He looked up to see a child waving, a glint of hope in their wide eyes. In that moment, he felt their faith, their belief in him propelling him forward. He could not fail them. With one final breath, he took a step toward the gaping maw of the building, prepared to face whatever lay within. The world outside faded away. The clamor of voices turned to a low hum as he stepped into the unknown, where danger and courage intertwined in a dance as old as time itself. In this world, Ali was no longer just a man. He had become a force of nature, a beacon of hope. And tonight, the adventure had only just begun. The air hummed with tension as Orca Man sped through the streets, the roar of his motorcycle slicing through the evening din of the bustling city. Each pulse of the engine echoed his adrenaline, urging him on towards the source of the alarm. The asphalt shimmered under the fading sun, casting long shadows that danced like specters in the twilight. His dark rubber bodysuit gleamed, mimicking the haunting beauty of the Orca, a creature known for its majesty and power. Inside the helmet, Ollie's mind raced. The alert had come through moments before he'd activated the dressing booth, a call for help on the police scanner. Someone was in trouble, and as Orca Man, he was determined to find out who and why. Rounding a corner, he spotted the flickering red and blue lights ahead, casting an uneasy glow over a cluster of police vehicles. His heart sank. Orca Man's nemesis, the Shadow Thief, was rumored to be in the area, orchestrating yet another nefarious scheme. The thief was known for his cunning and stealth, slipping through the shadows like smoke, leaving chaos in his wake. As he parked his motorcycle, the hybrid engine purred to a stop, and he surveyed the scene. Flashing lights illuminated the storefront of a local jewelry shop, its windows smashed and glass strewn across the pavement like crystalline tears. A crowd had gathered nearby, eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Orca Man could sense the anxious energy radiating from the onlookers, their unspoken questions hanging thick in the air. Who could do such a thing? Would they be safe? Orca Man stepped off his bike and approached the scene, his imposing figure eliciting a mixture of awe and hope in the bystanders.
Stay back.
He commanded, with his deep voice resonated through the gathering crowd.
Let the professionals handle this.
Before he could reach the police line, a familiar voice broke through the murmur of despair.
Ollie, is that you?
It was a police officer named Jones, one of the city's finest reliable allies. The officer's face was etched with concern, his brow furrowed behind a set of sunglasses.
Seems like trouble is brewing, Jones.
Orca Man replied, his tone serious as he scanned the crime scene.
What do we know?
I just got the call.
Jones began, moving to stand closer to the hero, keeping his voice low so as not to alarm the nearby citizens.
Witnesses say they saw a man in a dark cloak slip inside just before the alarm. He was in and out in a matter of minutes. But by the time the police got here, he was gone, leaving only a trail of havoc.
Did we see which way he went?
Orca Man asked.
South, towards the old warehouse district by the docks.
Jones replied as tension was threading his words.
But it's a maze down there. We could use your help to flush him out. His methods are sneaky and we need to move fast.
Ollie's heart raced. The docks were notorious for their labyrinthine pathways and hidden corners, ideal for someone as slippery as the Shadow Thief. But alongside the danger lay opportunity. He could use his abilities in the water to his advantage. After all, he wasn't just Orca Man for show, he had the reflexes of a predator.
Let's move,
He commanded. With a quick nod of acknowledgement toward the officer, he turned on his heel and jogged toward the nearby alley, leading him to the dock entrance. As he sprinted through the narrow passage, Orca Man recalled his training, the years spent fine-tuning his skills, learning to harness his aquatic abilities in a land environment. He wasn't merely a warrior in rubber, he was a force to be reckoned with. Emerging onto the dock, the salty air hit him, invigorating him as he scanned the area. The darkened pathways of the warehouse loomed ahead, their outlines blurred by the creeping mist of early nightfall. He could hear the faint sound of water lapping against the pier, a rhythmic pulse that echoed the thrum of his heart, a reminder that he was in his element. Orca Man darted down the worn wooden planks, using the shadows to his advantage, every instinct heightened. His environment was a patchwork of sound and scent, the sharp tang of the sea, the distant clamor of harbor workers, and the occasional cry of a seagull circling overhead. He paused, crouching low behind a stack of crates, listening intently for any signs of movement. Suddenly, a flicker of motion caught his eye. The Shadow Thief, cloaked in darkness, flitted towards an open warehouse. Orca Man's breath quickened. This was it. He could not allow the thief to escape, because every second counted. With a burst of speed, he launched himself from his hiding place, muscles taut as he charged forward. The sound of his footsteps barely registered above the din of the harbor as he neared the threshold of the warehouse. With a deft movement, he kicked open the splintered door, the noise bouncing against the concrete walls.
Stop right there.
Orca Man shouted. Darkness filled the expansive room, punctuated by the faint lights peeking through jagged windows. The thief turned, a figure draped in black, his eyes glinting like twin shards of ice.
If it isn't Orca Man, always the hero of the city, but you're too late for the party.
He taunted with his smooth and mocking voice.
Well, I'm just in time for the clean.
Orca Man shot it back, advancing cautiously, aware that the thief was notorious for setting traps. With a flick of his wrist, the Shadow Thief unleashed a cloud of gas, dark and smelling of sulfur. Orca Man instinctively covered his mouth and nose, his vision blurring as he fought against the disorienting fumes. He had to stay focused. Drawing on his training, Orca Man dove low, rolling to the side as the gas filled the air. The thief was agile, but Orca Man possessed the advantage of water-like fluidity. He continued to maneuver, dodging debris and using the shadows as cover, ready to confront his adversary. Suddenly, he spotted a glimmer of something reflective on the floor, a scattered pile of stolen jewels, the remnants of the heist. Orca Man felt the surge of righteous anger rise within him. This was not just about stopping a thief, it was about protecting the innocent from his greed. With a strike of determination, Orca Man surged forward, using the momentum to launch himself upward. He soared through the air, propelled by sheer will, and crashed down onto the thief, tackling him to the ground. They grappled, the cloaked figure squirming and twisting under Orca Man's weight, but Orca Man's grip held firm. He could feel the thief's resistance weaken, yet he couldn't let his guard down.
Game over, Shadow Thief.
He declared, raising his voice above the tumult as he secured the thief's wrists as they restrained him.
You're under arrest.
As the thief's struggle ceased, Orca Man stood up, pushing the gas away. Then he looked down at the defeated figure with triumph, his sense of justice coursing through him. The shadows held no fear for him now. He was the guardian of light in the murky depths of darkness. From the rear of the warehouse, the distant wail of sirens grew louder, a herald of the police arriving at last. Orca Man nodded to himself, feeling the weight of the moment settle. He had acted, had brought order back to the chaos, if only for today.
Heroes don't simply shield the innocent from harm. They inspire hope.
Orca Man stated with a glance. There was still work to be done, and the city awaited its protector. Twisting the dim light towards the door, Orca Man stepped into the night, ready to confront whatever threat loomed on the horizon next.